Ladies and gentlemen, I am very fortunate to be interviewing Terry Lee Brussel-Rogers. She's a hypnotherapist, business, and life coach since 1969, helping others build their practices since 1995. She is director of Success Center Inc. and you can reach out to her at 800 goal now 462-5669. Her website is acesuccess.com. Terry and her co-author Glenn Olson have written 50 years of polyamory in America, a guided tour to a growing movement. She's been published on Rowan and Littlefield, and her book sounds like coming out November 11th, if I'm not mistaken. She has self-published several books on hypnotherapy and practice building, including Choosing, Finding, and Attracting a Life Mate. Take Command of Your Body, the Hypnotic Foundation of Youth, and her 7 key turnkey system for building a successful practice. The podcast we are doing has been focused on so much of her career. Hello, everybody. My name is Bob Friedenthal. On LinkedIn, I'm Bob Holt Friedenthal. I call myself a LinkedIn junkie. I've been managing LinkedIn accounts for like 15 years. I am so very, very lucky to be interviewing Terry Lee Brussel-Rogers. So, Terry, why don't you start with your contact information so people know how to get a hold of you.
Okay, it's the phone number is 800 GOAL NOW, GOALNOW 462-5669. The web address is acesuccess.com and livethedream.org for our more polyamory based information.
Very good. Very good. So today I'm interviewing Terry, and like she said, her website is acesuccess.com. Terry is co-author of Glenn Olson written 50 years of polyamory in America. Polyamory, sorry about that. A guided tour to growing movement. It is being published by Rowan and Littlefield, November 11th, 2022. She has self-published several books on hypnotherapy and practice building, including Choosing, Finding, and Attracting a Life Mate, Take Command of Your Body, the Hypnotherapy Foundation of Youth, and her 7 key turnkey system for building successful practice. The podcasts we've done before, and she's focused on those career activities. So we're going to get right into the questions, okay? How does the publishing of this book relate to the work you have done up until now? Or is this an entirely different endeavor?
Well, polyamory has always been part of my life since reading Stranger in a Strange Land in 1969 at age 16. That was also when I started my professional hypnotherapy practice. Right from the beginning, I included coaching on open and multiply committed relationships as part of my services. Being a 4th-generation matchmaker, already learning from my dad how to run our family's matchmaking business, I help my clients find their life mate or mates. As a hypnotherapist, I worked with, among other things, jealousy issues, inner security, and handling fear of abandonment, ways to handle new relationship energy while keeping your marriage intact. Today, I teach those techniques to other hypnotists and coaches who use my 7 key turnkey system for building a successful hypnotherapy practice or coaching or healing practice. The book, 50 Years of Polyamory in America, is a combination of including those services as part of my practice.
Excellent. So what is polyamory?
It is based on the belief that it is possible to love and be committed to more than one significant other. It literally means many loves and typically refers to emotional sexual relationships that include multiple partners, such as open marriage, triads, 3 people, 2 couple, 4 people marriages. Larger groups may be referred to as intimate networks, some of whom live together, while others may visit frequently or mainly share holidays, birthdays, weddings, etc., like any good family. The word first appeared in 1991 in the article Bouquet of Lovers by Morning Glory Zell, the wife of Oberon Zell, who founded Church of All Worlds, based on Robert Heinlein's 1961 novel, Stranger in a Strange Land. Oberon wrote the foreword for our book, and I also have the oldest continuing nest of Church of All Worlds, which now has nests all over the world.
Wow, very, very interesting. What about swingers? Are swingers practicing polyamory?
Swingers certainly practice non-monogamy and make agreements in their primary relationships that they can have sex with other people. However, one important difference is that swingers are not building lasting emotional relationships with their other sex partners. In that way, they are very different.
Interesting. Can you give an overview of what 50 years of polyamory in America is about?
50 years of polyamory in America, a guided tour to a growing movement, is unique among the many books about polyamory because of the scope of this book is the entire history of the polyamory movement. Polyamory literally, many loves, challenges the relationship norm, monogamy, instead of concentrating on the experiences of a few people exploring alternative lifestyles. This is an exploration of 2 generations of Americans, the people and the organizations they founded, what they have chosen to do, and how it has changed their lives and affected the culture as a whole. Written in an entertaining and easily accessible style, our book covers the history of alternative sexual relationship styles, starting with a quick peek at colonial times, the Mormon and Oneida movements of the 1840s and to the 70s, to modern day influences starting in the 1950s, right on into the 21st century.
Fascinating. Every time I talk to you, I'm fascinated by what you have to say, and I'm sure the listening audience is also enamored by this. How did you get the information for the book and what it's based on?
50 years of polyamory in America is the history of multiply committed relationships, group marriage, and group living in America over the last 50 years. It is based on the personal experiences of the authors. And my co-author is actually the first person I shared water with after reading Stranger in a Strange Land when I was 16 years old, still my best friend today. It's also based on extensive research of the movement and on interviews with leaders in this lifestyle.
Okay. And which organizations were you personally involved with that appear in the book?
Family Synergy, founded in 1971, was my first experience with others beyond my own close friends living a non-monogamous lifestyle. My first husband and I joined it in 1977. We quickly became involved with leading discussions and family outings for the group. I was on its governing board off and on until 2011. My own organization, Live the Dream, was founded by myself and 2 others, close friends, in 1987. We'll be celebrating our 35th anniversary in October. Its purpose is to provide education and support for those who were originally inspired by the writings of such authors as Robert Rimmer, Robert Heinlein, Marion Zimmer Bradley, and Spider Robinson, are now ready to live such alternative lifestyles as multiply committed relationships, group marriage, and group living. We do poly discussions every 3rd Saturday, as well as Passover Seders, All Hallows Eve celebrations, winter holiday parties, trips to Renaissance Fair. I also helped in orientations for both Loving More weekend poly gatherings in the 90s and through 2011 or so, and World Poly gatherings, which followed it. Glenn Olson, my co-author, was involved with Morehouse and More University group housing and sexuality workshops from the 70s to present time. There are several others mentioned in the book. And of course, I've mentioned I have the oldest continuing nest of Church of All Worlds.
Very nice. Can you go into more detail about how hypnosis can help with jealousy and other poly-related issues?
Well, we start with self-hypnosis. You learn how to relax, learn greater self-awareness, greater self-control. Then, through a hypnotic age regression, we rewrite your life script so you react to potentially jealousy triggering situations with physical relaxation, emotional calm, and mental problem solving behavior, free of anger and fear. You can even move beyond that to the experience of compersion, which is actually being able to feel and enjoy your partner's pleasure in loving another person. We also work with keeping your marriage or primary relationship intact in the presence of the emotional high of a new relationship by maintaining control of your emotions and making sure you take real pleasure in keeping your primary partner happy and secure in your relationship. All this is accomplished through both hypnotherapy and relationship coaching.
Okay. There are many other books about polyamory. Why write this one?
Years of Polyamory in America, Guided Tour to a Growing Movement, is unique among the many books about polyamory because of the scope of this book is the entire history of the polyamory movement. Instead of concentrating on the experiences of a few people exploring alternative lifestyles, it is an exploration of a much wider group of people, the people and organizations they founded, what they have chosen to do, and how it has changed their lives and how it has affected the way the culture as a whole is operating. Okay. Polyamory is a love style chosen by people, male and female, and in history, it's usually been a male having more than one woman in his life, right back to biblical times. This is male and female who want to share emotional bonds with more than one lover and have ethical relationships with all their lovers. To accomplish that, people had to literally invent new ways of thinking to make it happen. 3 dominant trends were happening in America at the time our book begins. The civil rights movement had been changing people's hearts throughout the 1960s, making activism respectable. The human potential movement, coming from good old American philosophical and psychological roots, had been quietly gaining momentum all that time, all that decade, along with the message that you can change who you are for the better. The literary beat culture of the 1950s, whose basic tenets included challenging your preconceptions, making a spiritual quest, and rejecting economic materialism, had turned into the popular and energetic hippie movement of the 1960s, including the culture-bending event of Woodstock. Something unique in human history happened at this point. Some people, male and female, began questioning the idea that emotional bonds had to be limited to only 2 people. Not only could someone have more than one lover, but perhaps even more than one spouse. So people took the tools they were inventing and created new ways of loving, which led eventually to polyamory. This is the only book which has been published at the present time, which deals with the entire scope of this movement from beginning to end. Well, this isn't the end, but from beginning to present anyway, from the personal viewpoints of many of its most influential leaders. I believe this is why the major New York publishing company of Rowman and Littlefield has chosen not only to market this to individuals living this lifestyle or interested in finding out more about it, but as a reference book. This really is exciting for libraries, universities, etc.
I'm fascinated in this, and you know, we've talked on several occasions that I have done extensive hypnotherapy starting back around 1977, and in 2007 I suffered a staph infection, and I was only given a 5% chance of living. And I'm still here today to talk about it. And I used my hypnotherapy to get my mind focused and centered on living. I didn't believe I was going to die when the infectious disease guy told me he thought I'd be dead in the next 24 hours. I didn't believe it. And the other part that I think is so fascinating, this is the intrigue of what you do for a living. My son, I didn't even know this for over a year. My son was in the room when the infectious disease guy told me I was going to die. That had a permanent impact on our relationship. And the way I look at it is, you're always trying to earn your way back, because a young kid, 15 years old, I think he was, that damages.
I don't think I've heard that part of it before, Bob.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That's really something.
Yeah. In 2007, I was not supposed to live. And when the infectious disease guy told me that I would probably be dead the next 24 hours and needed to prepare myself and my family, what I didn't realize, my son was in that room. And I didn't even know that for over a year that he was in the room. I was pretty sick, and all
hypnotherapy helped you to come through that?
Oh, you bet. Because here's what happened. When he told me that I was probably going to be dead in the next 24 hours, that I needed to prepare, two thoughts crossed my mind. Oh, well, what are you going to do about it? I was in such horrible pain. My staph attacked my L4 and my L5, the lower back. It gobbled up the bone like it was Pac-Man. And I was in pain you would never, ever, ever.
And hypnotherapy helped you get out of that pain and actually reverse the process?
You bet, because I focused on getting better, because I didn't believe it. And, I've seen some.
So the power of self-hypnosis is what did it. Boy, I've taught that right from the beginning. I think that's the most powerful.
Hey, any time you want me to speak to any of your clients, patients, whatever you want to call them, about the power of hypnotherapy and the mind, the
Thank
mindset.
You.
Oh my God. The irony
Let
is.
me get back to polyamory, Hunter. We won't get this guy. You're done, but thank you. I really appreciate that.
Well, we're almost done anyway. So we covered the question about why did you write the book, right? We covered that. Okay, so now we're down to, does your book tell us how many people practice polyamory today?
Well, in the early 1970s, sociologists Larry and Joan Constantine estimated only a few thousand people were practicing ethical non-monogamy, polyamory. They worked very hard to track down and interview the few hundred group marriages they could find for their book. These days, many more people are involved in multiply committed relationships. Sociologists estimate between 9 million and 15 million have tried or are actively living in poly relationships. Attention hypnotists, coaches, and healers. The special needs of these people require the expertise of those who understand who they are and how to help them. If that is going to be you, you've got to learn how. Call 800-GOAL-NOW 462-5669 or visit acesuccess.com to expand your practice. To find out more about our book, go to Barnes & Noble or Amazon websites, or just Google 50 Years of Polyamory in America, a guided tour to a growing movement by Glenn Olson and Terry Brussel-Rogers.
You're also going to love this too, which I've years and years and years ago, I had a client. She was the 23rd of 46 children. Out of Salt Lake, they were Mormon, and they had multiple. The father, the husband, had multiple wives. He had 4 wives.
Right.
And so
that's what makes polyamory different. It's multiple wives and multiple husbands.
Right. So this was a completely different lifestyle, and I managed her on social media years ago, and I was fascinated just to hear, lifestyles of people. And she was a bestseller. She'd written books. I don't even remember her name anymore. But just to understand, there's more than one way of thinking, right? And if you open up your mental horizons, you will be able to accomplish much more, I believe. So what I think we're, basically at the end of this interview. And so what I love to do is give us your contact information all over again.
Okay. It's 800 goal now 462-5669. I also have 800 life mates 543-3628, which I had for, of course, marriage minded introductions, which I ran for 40 years. Our web address is acesuccess.com for the hypnotherapy, coaching, healing, and those who want to learn more about how to expand their practices. And then livethedream.org, which has been around since 1987. You can get our articles and different information on that, and our monthly meetings and so forth, which are now both live and on Zoom.
There's one other piece that I'd love to add to this. I have several hypnotherapists, mindset coaches, and I'm always asking them, how many people do you come in contact that are stressed out? You know what their answer is? 100%.
Yeah, everybody has stress
People are so
issues.
stressed.
That's why I've got on my website, thank you for bringing that up, I've got positive stress management and healthy, effective immune system available free. I put it up there when the pandemic started, so it covers, how to keep your body healthy and free of COVID and free of colds and whatever else might come up. But it also deals with how to react to potentially stressful situations with physical relaxation, emotional calm, and mental problem-solving behavior. And along with that, and you can even play them both at once if you're doing Reach for the Stars, which is reachforthestars.today, lets people listen to both of those. Abundance, Your Money and More magnet, to bring an abundance of health, wealth, love, and joy into your life, and positive stress management and healthy, effective immune system at night as you're sleeping. Playing 2 a night actually allows you to listen to it the necessary 21 times in just 3 weeks. You'd be amazed at how that changes your life and your reaction to stress and your ability to make money, which people on LinkedIn usually want to do.
Years ago, starting in 1977, I belonged to a hypnotherapy group. And I listened to, there were about 6 members in this group. It wasn't a huge group. And there was a mother and a daughter that both had cancer. And they arrested their cancer with hypnotherapy. They didn't use chemo. They didn't use anything like that. And then on top of that, there was a woman that was in the group that was deathly afraid of going to a dentist. My brother-in-law is a dentist, right? And so I asked him about it. He says, yeah, people are afraid of the dentist. They're afraid more about the Novocaine injection than they are about the actual filling of cavities. So
that's why I've got Relax the Jaw for people who want to deal with getting rid of the pain without having to even have the injections. My father used to help people to do that before going in for a dental things. And one time somebody very dear to him was supposed to have all of her teeth out because she had very serious dental issues. And they actually were able to do the whole thing without Novocaine, nothing at all except hypnosis.
Blows me away.
Amazing. So yes, it can be done, and we have to remove the fear of dentists. Also, I have a regression technique that does that as well.
Well, this one particular woman, my brother-in-law confirmed that people are afraid to go to the dentist because of the Novocaine injection. She had fillings done with absolutely no Novocaine, 0 Novocaine, and she did it by self-hypnosis. And exactly. It's amazing what you can accomplish, but you got to use,
you do it with self-hypnosis, or you can also listen to this recording and just relax and have it going into your mind. And that's what I do whenever I go in to see a dentist. I make sure I have Relax the Jaw playing in my ears, and I bring in the little device that does that, and it works.
It does. It absolutely does work.
Of course, I've given that to many of my clients, and they've gotten great results too.
So, just a little bit of information. If any of you have questions about Terry Lee Brussel-Rogers, please do not hesitate giving me a call. My phone number is area code 310-736-5787. On LinkedIn, I'm Bob Holt, Holt, Friedenthal, Friedenthal. You can email me at bob@mycity.com. And this whole arena that we're working in right now is something that I absolutely love, 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 love. So don't be
I'm
afraid.
going to add a bit to that.
Sure.
This man has been helping me in my LinkedIn presence for a couple of years now, and the result is amazing. I get so much of my business from LinkedIn, and I really appreciate his help.
You're
So
an
if you're looking
exceptional
for somebody
woman,
to
though,
be
too.
your
That's-
LinkedIn expert, call him.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I've been doing LinkedIn for 15 years now. I can't believe all this time's gone by. And I call myself a LinkedIn addict, but I also do other social medias as well.
I started with like 300 people or something on LinkedIn. How many people do I have today in my LinkedIn group?
I don't know. Let's go take a look. It's worth it.
Yeah, it
let's
is
see.
actually.
Pardon me?
Tell me.
Here we go. I just got to find where my LinkedIn is. Come on, LinkedIn. LinkedIn. I've got so many apps I can't even see straight. Come on. Here we go. I think you're under Terry Brussel.
Rogers, Terry Brussel-Rogers.
Here we go. Just found you. You have almost 2,600 actual connections.
2,600.
And you probably started with almost zero. I mean, it was really.
Oh no, I had a couple of hundred anyway,
Okay,
but we went to 2,600. That is amazing.
But you know,
So
the beauty of this is they're all targeted connections, people that you want to meet in the professions, like other hypnotherapists, etc.
Coaches and healers, right? Those are the people I want to talk to.
Great
okay,
stuff.
So just to reiterate, I'm Terry Brussel-Rogers, and my book is 50 Years of Polyamory in America, a guided tour to a growing movement, which you can get on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or just by Googling 50 Years of Polyamory in America, guided tour to a growing movement, or feel free to call me and we'll talk about it. 800-GOAL-NOW, 462-5669. Thanks so much for joining us.
Enjoyable. More than enjoyable. This was overwhelmingly interesting to understand more about what you do. And I didn't even know some of this stuff until today when you told me about it, told us about it. So thank you very much. I'm going to be signing us off right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.